like to welcome you to a class that I believe that will make a huge difference in the enjoyment of your life and your family's life as well. I would like to talk to you about how to stay young your first 100 years. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that the topic sounds catchy, but what do I really need to know about how to stay young the first 100 years? Sounds a little far-fetched and a little ambitious. Well, it's not. You and your family need to start thinking about what it means for you to start living for a very long time. Let's look at the facts. In 1900, the average lifespan was 49 years old. Now, there's no doubt that this is because people died when they were young. They didn't have the cures or the health care that we have today. But that's the point. The chance of them living a long, healthy life was far less back then. Today, the average lifespan is 77.6 years and growing. Scientists in the University of Texas reported on Today's Show in 2006 that by the year 2050, there will be over 800,000 Americans that will live to be over 100, and many will even live to 150. So what does that mean? That means that your children will have to know more about how to stay young their first 100 years. Then they will have to know about how they're going to figure out how to spend your inheritance. Because you may live well until they're retired themselves before they even get a chance to get the inheritance, assuming that there is one. So yes, this is a topic that you and your family need to know about. We don't want to merely just exist on this planet. We want to be able to live, work, and play on this planet. We want to be able to have a healthy life. Now, we have a huge group of baby boomers that are moving into the over and 50 phase of life, and this is starting to reveal areas of concerns. It's revealing that there are major areas of health concerns before the age or after the age of 50 if we don't do anything to prevent them before the age of 50. Now this is because we've never seen such a large group of people live to such a ripe old age. And we're being faced with things such as mental illness like Alzheimer's. Now, this isn't new, it just didn't start, but dementia normally shows in people that are at least 70 years and older. Now that we realize that we're going to live until this ripe old age, we want to be able to do things to prevent any kind of mental illness so we can enjoy our life and enjoy our minds when we reach these older stages. Now, we've also seen a spike in skincare. Yes, there's been a huge number of increase of cosmetic surgeries because people want to correct the wrinkle problem that comes with aging. But the biggest problem that we're facing is musculoskeletal problems, the ability to move, the ability to get around the way that we used to. We want to be able to enjoy life. We don't want to be able to just sit still. We want to take preventive cares to prevent these problems. We are the first generation to witness a ramification of a long life, and it reveals that we have areas of concern. The most common cause of functional disability in persons over the age of 50, is spinal disorders. Wow, that's really big. How many of you plan on living past the age of 50? Okay, all right. And how many of you think your family plans on living past the age of 50? Okay. Let me use this as an example. What if there was someone that was planning on breaking into your home and stealing all of your possessions, but I was able to tell you when they were going to break into your house, and I was able to tell you who was going to break into your home and when they were going to break into your home? Would you do something about it, or would you just let it happen? Well, I'm able to tell you what is going to rob you of your functional capacity. I'm able to tell you what's going to rob you of your functional capacity. Are you going to do something about it, or are you going to just let it happen? Of course not. We want to prevent it. The same way that we want to prevent someone from breaking into our homes and stealing all of our possessions, it's the same way that we should want to prevent our functional mobility from being robbed from us. But I think that we all agree that it is far more important for us to be able to maintain our functional mobility than letting someone steal our possessions. Let's think about this. If we lost our mobility at the age of 65 and we lived to 105, that is 40 years of immobility and pain. Wow. But let's look at some of the areas of where we have some adjustments and improvements in the health field. Let's look at tooth decay, for example. Now, before, we had way more teeth loss and cavities than we do today, because with the preventative care, we're able to maintain more teeth, and we're also able to get less cavities. Long story short, we're able to have our teeth with far less pain. We've also seen an increase in skin care. Since 1997, there's been a 465% increase in cosmetic procedures of people trying to correct the ramifications of getting old. Wow. That is 12 million people that have had cosmetic procedures done in order to rectify the wrinkle problem. But I think that we all agree that we should take more care into our functional capacity than our teeth and our skin. I am completely for living with our pearly whites, and I'm completely for us living with less wrinkles. But I think that we can all agree that a lack of mobility will make us look far much older than crow's feet. But this is simply because, well, we take care of our skin and we take care of our teeth better simply because if our spines were on our face, we would take way better care of it. We no longer wait for our teeth to fall out, so why would we wait for our back to fall out? We want to make sure that we take the preventative care or the preventative steps to prevent it from going out. We don't want to gamble with our back. We want to be able to live and work and play with our back. But, far more importantly, we need to understand that there is no such thing as a spine transplant. You may be able to replace some organs, but you cannot replace your spine. There are no kind of caps or anything that you can do this. But we also have to be mindful that this isn't limited to just back pain. Neck pain is also included as well. 1 out of 3 adults over the age of 50 experience neck pain. And if we look at the number of 85 out of 100 people that experience back pain, I think that is a high stat that will convince anyone to want to start taking preventative care. But if it's not enough to convince you that you need to start taking preventative care, let's look at the scale. Let's look at the scale of what our back would look like if we just let nature take its course. Now, on the left are the numbers that represent the percentage of our functional capacity. And at the bottom, it represents our age. And as you can see, that at the age of 23, we spike or we peak at our 100% of functional mobility. Then that number begins to decline. And by the age of 50, it drops like a rock. And we're at 50% of the mobility function that we had at the age of 23. And then even at the age of 60, it drops like a rock again, and we're at 25% of the functional mobility that we had at the age of 23. Now the big question is, can this scale be changed? Yes, it can. With the correct preventative care, the good news is that it can be changed. We can see big improvements to the line on this scale. Let's take a look at the blue. Let's take a look at the green line and the red line that's represented on the scale. This is what it looks like if we take the preventative care to extend our line of mobility. And with the preventative care, you can see that green line is stretched all the way out to the age of 80 at 75%. That is huge. All right. Now that is huge, and that is what we want to make sure that we want to prolong our mobility. This is essential, and we have to make this happen. Well, one answer that you may be thinking is that this is the perfect thing for someone who is young, vital, and full of life. But what if a person is already over the age of 50? Can that scale be changed? Is it too late to start? And the answer is absolutely not. It is not too late. In fact, I want to congratulate you on getting here and now. It's never too late to start. This is doing the right thing. We want to get you back on track so you can be able to enjoy your life. You want to be able to enjoy your life for many, many reasons. And the reason why I mentioned that you want to be able to follow, and one thing that you want to do is be able to follow through with all the preventative care. And this is essential because I mention this because following through is vital, because you've already spent majority of your life with the mentality that the only reason why you go to the chiropractor is when your back is in pain. And that is not the case. You really want to erase that from your mind. This means it's going to be a lot easier for you to drop off from the preventative care that we assign for you. You want to be able to complete all 3 phases of the recommended care that we're going to send you through. Let's take a look at the 3 phases. Now the first phase is pain relief. This is a reminder for some, but for others, let's go ahead and go through this. We want to recognize some of the health problems. You have what is called subluxation. Now, subluxation is simply the misalignment of the vertebrae, which causes nerve interference. To some, it may be called the pinching of the nerves. Excuse me. For an example, I would like to use a water hose. For a water hose, the water flows freely if the water hose is completely extended all the way out. Well, if there is a kink, then there's a problem with the water flow that goes all the way through, which represents the nerve interference. We want to use a series of adjustments that will go ahead and remove that kink. We want to be able to remove that kink or get that twist out of that hole. We want to prevent everything or adjust everything from stopping the flow of the nerves so the messages from the nerves can reach the organs and other body parts of your body. When the nerve interference is removed, the nerve flow is then restored, and you're back on your way to a healthy life. But we do this with a series of adjustments. Excuse me. Now, with a series of adjustments, this is to relieve the pressure off the nerve for the spine, so those messages can be sent forward, so you can be able to bend, work, and play. But you just do not want to stop here with the series of adjustments. You want to go on to phase 2. And phase 2 is our stabilization phase. Now, once we get to the stabilization phase, we must realize that this takes time. We do not want to rush this. We do not want to be impatient, for the simple fact that your spine has been out of alignment for so long that your body actually thinks that this is the way that it's supposed to be, and it's not. With the stabilization, we will get your body back to the regular, so you can actually be productive. Let's think about this. Did your orthodontist straighten your teeth out on the first visit? Of course not. Once again, it took time, it took work, and even after they were actually straightened out, your dentist then removed the braces